afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive JT. As you can see, we did what I do a lot of the time in the Jeep Gladiator, and that is run errands. It's been my go-to errand running vehicle, and I thought when I got my new car recently, the Toyota Prius, love that car, that the Jeep Gladiator its role would decrease a little bit, and that I would use that car more for running daily errands and stuff. But this morning I went out, and maybe it's because I just had the windows tinted in the Prius, and I like to drive around with the windows down. I can't do that for a while. So I grabbed the Jeep Gladiator and went to the Lowe's. But that's primarily what I use the Jeep Gladiator for, is just running errands and stuff. You know, little commutes to here and there. I work from home, so I don't have a brick and mortar that I have to go to every day, right? Pulled up a little too far on the stoplight there. By the way, something that happened, I was driving to Lowe's this morning, and you guys may have seen it, I don't know, there was a cop off to the left, and I thought maybe he was running radar, you know, and I thought that I was in a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. I looked down, as we all do when we see the police, right? And I'm doing 37 miles an hour. It was a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. So I'm 7 miles an hour over. You know, I know they give you some leeway, but I think once you start to approach the 10-mile-an-hour mark, you're fair game, right? So as I'm driving, I get past him. He doesn't move, thank goodness, you know. And he pulls the car over about 2 or 3 cars behind me that was speeding, I guess. So I got lucky this morning, and it was an honest mistake. I really did think it was a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. I pay attention to those kind of things because I don't want the hassle. I don't want to have to sit there on the side of the road, and you know, I just don't want to deal with it. I haven't had a ticket since I was 16 years old, and that's been I don't know, do the math. It's been decades, let's just say that, because I am so aware of it. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about this morning is fear of the Jeep Gladiator. I have to admit, I have a little bit of Jeep Gladiator fear. Now, I don't mean that every time I look at it, I cower in a corner or anything. Nothing like that. I mean fear of something happening system-wise. You know, I've been getting a lot of comments lately about the auxiliary battery system, and in particular, failure of it. Because of that auxiliary battery, apparently, I think the problem is becoming more clear now, and that is that the system just does not get enough charge. Got a little sun in my face here, but the system doesn't get enough charge, not enough to keep that battery fully charged up. And then it runs down, it causes problems. I've even heard that it can draw power from the main battery, and then you can have 2 batteries that are dead. Not a good scenario. And even more, it seems to me that happens somewhere in the 2 to 3 year age mark, something like that, when you've had it for a couple, 3 years. At least a lot of the people that are telling me it's happening to them are experiencing that kind of time frame. Now, this Jeep Gladiator is a 2021. So we're approaching the 3-year mark, and that is the danger zone, I guess. So when I get in, I always take a look at the dash just to see if I get any kind of error message, you know. Usually I think it's some kind of a battery warning light, or maybe even a check engine light, I don't know, or some things won't even work right. It can also be an auto stop failure or malfunction. All of those indicate, from what I've read or seen, that there is some sort of problem with that auxiliary battery. So every time I get in the Jeep, I'm fearful of that because I don't want to screw with it. You know, Randall and I changed the battery in his Jeep Gladiator, and it was the auxiliary, and while it can be done, it's kind of a pain in the arse. You gotta kind of pull the inner fender back if you do it from the bottom, and that's how I would recommend it, because taking the fuse panel off the top seems a bit daunting to me and just opens up room for error or problems if you screw something up. You don't want to mess with the electrical system, right? So you got to go in underneath. There's a video on the channel that we did about that, doing it. But you have to go in underneath, remove or pull back the inner fender. Probably easier if you just remove it all together. And then you got to reach up under there. It's in kind of a case, so you got to kind of take the case off, drop the battery. It's very awkward. While you're under there in that tight space, you have to remove the terminals, put the new battery in, and then put it all back together. It's about, if I recall, about a 2-hour job or something like that, with a couple of people. An extra hand is good just to shine a light or maybe hold the battery up a little bit, something like that. Now, I've heard some people that have had this done, people that have had both batteries replaced, have still had a problem. In other words, they went through the motion of doing all that. A lot of people have taken it in and had it done at the dealership, probably because it is such a pain. But anyway, they've had it done, and then the problem persists. It'll be okay for a little while, and then they start to experience that same issue again. So whatever system, I don't know if Stellantis Jeep needs to have some sort of an auxiliary charging system, maybe an auxiliary smaller alternator or something set up to charge just that battery, because what they're using right now obviously does not work. Hopefully they've corrected it going forward in the newer models. I mean, they've had 2 or 3 years now to come up with something else to mess with it, but I hate when people do that. I'm driving down the road, coming up to a flashing yellow light. There's a guy coming from the other side. He has the right of way. We're both turning. I'm turning left, he's turning right. He should be ahead of me. He stops. The light's flashing yellow. He's got the right of way. He stops and then waves me on. I'm like, you know, you're not the traffic director. Do what you're supposed to do. I understand they're probably being courteous. They're probably going to drive slow. That's okay. I can pass them if I choose. Not in that big a hurry. It's not that big a deal. It's a 45-mile-an-hour road. So what are we going to do, 90 through here? Can't stand when people do that. Drive your own vehicle. I think that's a reason for a lot of accidents and problems out there, is when people don't do what they're supposed to do. You know, when you're driving, you anticipate what people are going to do, because that's what they should be doing. He had the right of way. He should have turned. Drives me nuts. I digress. So anyway, every time I get in the Jeep Gladiator, I am fearful of that. I'm fearful of having a check engine light. I know it's got to be coming. This thing is now 2 years old. We've got warranty till the end of 3 years. So it's coming up. It's going to be on my dime. I think there's another cop sitting up here. It must be police ticket day or something. No, actually, that's somebody's driveway. Now I'm paranoid. But anyway, it's coming. It's something I'm aware of every time I get in the Jeep. And frankly, I don't like that. You know, you shouldn't get in your vehicle and have to be fearful. Fearful's probably the wrong word. Aware. Concerned. That's the right word. Concerned about things not working properly. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know. If you've got a Jeep Gladiator, do you ever think about that? Do you check every time you get in to make sure, because of its horrible reputation, that something's going to be wrong? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.